So in this video, I want to show you how I scrape the data from this page. It's another one where we need to utilize the network request, but there's a couple of interesting things along the way that might be beneficial to you, and a few things that I found interesting on the way that the site worked. So as always, the first thing we need to do is open up our inspect element and head over to network. And I'm just going to hit search on these vehicles. I have a XHR filter, and I also have persist logs on, which means, these will stay whenever you change the page. So we can see right away there is a vehicle API, which is exactly what we were expecting to see. There's a quotes and a list, the list being the one that we are going to be interested in because that's got the car information. If you did want the quotes details, that should be fairly straightforward to get as well. It looks like it's organized by the vehicle reg, and in the request there is a JSON response that seems to have that information in. I haven't interrogated this much. I was only really interested here. So if we have a look at this request, we can see under the request headers down here that there is this one, which is the most interesting, an X CSRF token as a specific header. And also within the cookie, and this information is the same. And this is kind of an interesting thing for me, and we'll show you as we go forward why that actually matters. But the next thing that I always like to do, is flick through a few pages and just make sure, that because that information is there that I want, that, I expect the more requests when I do this, just to make sure we kind of get a few more bits of information going. And we can see right away, here we are, page 2 and page 3 with that size here. Interestingly, the first one has this payment type. So if that was interesting to you, it's possible that we would be able to find out what other parameters that this API would take, given the fact that it's page and size and payment type. It's probably fairly easy to figure out any other ones that may work too. So we just check the extra ones. We can see our response looks good, different set of vehicles, and exactly what we were expecting to find. So from here, what I'll always do is I'll take this request out and I'll put it into Bruno, or whatever API client that you use, and we start to mess around with it. Now, the first thing that I always do in the parameters is set them as low as possible and run it, and just make sure that that actually works. And we can see then that when we start to change these params, we are getting back what we were expecting. And I'm just double checking here to make sure that the information about the vehicle that I would be after is in here, and it is. So from here, we want to go over and have a look at the headers. Now, you can see right away, I've removed all of these ones, which are just not relevant. I also removed the user agent, and that didn't have any effect on the results or the outcome. And in fact, if you remove these as well and just leave the cookie, you might think that that's it, that works perfect. We got the same response back, the same with what we were after. We just need this cookie. But in fact, if you were to change this to page 2 and let's say add in a different size, we get this valid CRF token was not provided. And that's interesting because you would have thought, well, here's our CRF from the other request and it's in here in the cookie, but we need it in here. So let's add it back in, but we still get it. And that's because when we are going through these pages, it's expecting a referrer. So we need to add this referrer in here, this URL, and then that will let us change it. So you can see I've got 23 and the pagination here. Now, initially after this, I thought, okay, I'm going to need to use a browser, I think, to be able to generate these tokens. And I want to know how long they would last for. And the easiest way to check that is to come back to your browser session and go over to storage and find the cookies and the headers. And we can see, here's this one here. And if we look over here, it actually tells us that this is going to last for a year. So, once a year, I'll have to spin up a browser and generate a new one, perhaps, maybe. So that's not such a bad thing for me. So that looks pretty good here. So we just kind of need to build something that's going to get this token, find the referrer, and then generate the cookie and then send it over. So the next thing that I would do is export this to some kind of code. I would generally use Python for this, requests, and we can have a look here. And this is exactly everything that's in here. Now, I've done this already, and this is what I've come up with. So pretty straightforward. Let me just tidy this up from where I must have deleted a load of stuff when I was messing around. So we can see here that I'm going to use a proxy, although, I guess with the pages and the different sizes that we're going to be working with, for example, here, if I look and we let's change this up to 50. So this is only 261 pages, right? So assuming that we want to do this every day, that's only 261 requests per day from us. Even though I'm going to use an proxy IP, I've got my URL here, and then I'm going to use curl CFFI to generate a session that impersonates Firefox. Now, I think this is where a lot of people might stumble, and they might think that you do need to use a browser to generate that cookie and the CSRF header token. However, in this instance, just using curl CFFI impersonating Firefox to get access does actually generate that data for us. So we can make a request here. We can then get the cookies from the session. We can print them out. We can see them. And then we can update the header with that new cookie, which would have happened automatically in your browser. Then we can add in our referrer, and that's going to then allow us access to any page and any size of information that we actually after. So if we come out of this and we run it, we're going to be able to see what comes back. So we can see here, I think I left this on 1, so we should be able to see one item, so we should be still see everything. Yeah, so here are here's the headers that were generated. Here's our token and our referrer that we added in, and then the results that come back for us here with the cart information. And we would want to, just go through every single one of these. And this is just the standard kind of JSON response, and then keep going until there's no more pages. And the way that I coded this is that this is going to actually generate a new set of CSRF and everything like that, and cookies for every time we go and make these requests. So the protection on this API is almost non-existent. They're just relying on this here, which has to be generated. You'd be surprised how often it's like this. I think, generally speaking, it's kind of like an 80-20 split. So 80% would be pretty straightforward of general sites that you want to scrape from, and this is e-commerce, but this is kind of like my area of expertise. So 80% is going to be very easy, and 20% is actually going to be very, very hard. So it's worth finding out where you stand with the site, so you can actually build your code out and then like temper your expectations as well. So in this instance, to get all of these 13,000 car information, I've got 26 lines of code here. All we need is a simple loop and we should be golden. 261 requests. Nice and easy.